is no one in the public gallery currently, so I'll not go through the gallery rules, etc., unless anyone does join us. So if members are content, then we can move to start working through the agenda. So item 1 on the agenda is apologies, and we have apologies from Alan Chambers, the chair, and also Diane Forsyth. Are members aware of any other apologies?
We're all here.
All here. That's us. This is our full quota. So obviously no other apologies. So that moves us on to the next item of business, which is declaration of interests. Does any member have any interest to declare for the business today? Nope, that's fine. So we can move on to item 3, which is the draft minutes, and that's the minutes of our meeting on the 9th of April 2024, and those are at page 5 of your packs. So can I just seek agreement if members are content with the draft minutes as an accurate record of the meeting?
Yep,
All agreed?
Yep.
Okay. And I'm advised I can sign on behalf.
Just PP that. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Lovely, thank you.
Great. That is moving on to item 4 then, and that is matters arising, of which there is one, and that is page 11 of your packs. There was a letter from the Minister of Finance, and that's stating that she will reflect the agreed budgets for NIAC, NIAO and NIPSO in the 24-25 budget document. So at this stage I'll just be asking members to note that unless there are any issues. Happy to note?
Nope.
Great. Okay. Item 5 in the agenda, that is committee quorum, and I would refer members to the clerk's briefing paper, page 12 of the meeting pack, and at this stage I will hand over to the committee clerk, Nick, to speak to that item.
Thank you, Chair. Members, if you just have a look at page 13 of the pack, that gives us a little bit of background information as to why it's something that the committee are wanting to look at. Standing Order 50.8.4 states that the Audit Committee at the Assembly shall have a membership of 5 and a quorum of 2, and it's a little ironic that it's at today's meeting that we look at this when we actually don't have a chair or a deputy chair and therefore only 3 members of the committee. In the last mandate, the previous Audit Committee considered the membership and quorum. In the final year of their mandate, the committee found it quite difficult to achieve quorum because there are only 5 members, and obviously the last few months of any Assembly mandate can be very busy. It was difficult sometimes for the committee to actually meet. So given that in its legacy report it suggested that its successor committee, i.e. this committee, may wish to consider looking at increasing the membership and therefore the quorum of the current Audit Committee. So in January 2022, the then Audit Committee wrote to the Speaker via the Business Committee suggesting that its functions that have increased over the last 10 years in terms of taking on the scrutiny of the Assembly Commission means that actually it was designed to just look at one particular item, which was the budget and estimates of the Audit Office, and now there is more work to be done, and it suggested that Business Committee think about changing standing orders to allow it to become a full committee with 9 members with a quorum of 5. We didn't, the previous committee didn't get a response to that because we went into dissolution for the election, and obviously we are only back now a number of months. So as per page 14 of the Secretariat paper, I'm suggesting that the committee commission a research paper which would look at what the makeup, quorum and membership of audit committees on the other jurisdictions of these islands are. And then once we have received that, perhaps the committee can deliberate things a bit further as to whether it feels that it should look at either increasing or staying as we are. So that's really where we are with that.
Okay, thank you. So on that basis, I mean, I would propose that the committee goes ahead and requests a research paper on the makeup and quorum of equivalent audit committees in other jurisdictions. Are members agreed?
Yep, happy.
Agreed, yeah.
That's great. Thank you. Okay, so that can move us on to the next item of business, and I'm going to suggest that we take items 6 and 7 together, and that is the Northern Ireland Audit Office 24-25 main estimates and the Northern Ireland Public Service Ombudsman 24-25 main estimates. So I would refer members to your packs at page 16, which is the clerk's briefing note, and then the NIAO estimate document starting at page 19 of your packs, and the NIPSO covering letter and estimate at page 32. So again, at this stage, I'm going to hand over to the committee clerk to speak to that item.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, members, again, page 16 of your pack is the just the background paper on the reason for the estimates and what the committee's function is. So the main statutory role of the committee that is actually set out in the Northern Ireland Act is to scrutinise and agree the budgets for the Northern Ireland Audit Office and the Northern Ireland Public Service Ombudsman. And the committee fulfils this in place of the Department of Finance in recognition of the independence of the NIO and NIPSO, so that the agreement of the estimates and of the budget is independent of the financing department. Just to note, we are currently, as a committee, looking at a similar process with the Assembly Commission. As you will be aware, we agreed the budget of the Assembly Commission, but at this stage, the committee does not have any role in agreeing the estimates for the Assembly Commission. They will do that themselves by way of motion, which we will no doubt see in the next couple of weeks in plenary. However, perhaps that is something that the committee could look at over the course of this mandate to see whether it wishes to codify that. But we can come back to that on another day. You will see in your packs, as Chair has alluded, on page 18 is the estimate document for the NIAO, and on page 32 there is a covering letter from the Public Service Ombudsman and then their estimates. These are relatively technical documents, and what they are basically doing is just breaking down the agreed budget funding for the next year into the relevant different areas of how those two bodies will actually spend the money. Both of the estimates have been seen by the Department of Finance as well, and those bodies would not have sent us these estimates if they hadn't had certainly an informal okay that the estimates are fine and that the Department of Finance are happy with them. I can say as well that the estimates reflect the budget positions that the committee agreed back in its meeting in April, and also that were part of the budget document that the Minister laid earlier in the year, and there was then a debate about. So in terms of the figures, they match exactly with the figures that we had agreed at the previous meeting. So as next steps for that, we have to produce a committee report. The statutory obligation of the committee is to lay the estimates, and at that point they are seen as being agreed, and that then gives the Department of Finance the go-ahead to include them in their main estimate document, which again I think, Chair, is coming to the committee, coming to the Assembly certainly before the end of summer recess at some point in June. And once this committee has laid those estimates, they will then become part of the 24-25 main estimates. So in accordance with the committee's requirements, a draft report has been produced, and later in the meeting we can go through that, and the committee can choose to agree that report, and it's then that report that is laid, and that then fulfills the statutory function of the committee.
Okay, thank you, Nick. I think that sets everything out on that item pretty clearly. There's no questions from my end, but do any other members have any questions at all at this stage?
Nope.
Karen? Nope. That is fine. Great. So I would suggest that as we now move on to item 8, that we take that item in closed session. So I just want to check.
Committee Room 21. Sound.